In January of this year, I had a conversation with Ox Car Care about an extended warranty on my 2007 C280 Mercedes. And we discussed quite a bit of things, but what I was concerned about mostly, what I liked that they said, that the lady said, was that they would cover my car maintenance, which is like twice a year for a Mercedes, like a service A and a service B. The service A, I can't tell you all the things that they do in these services, but basically it's twice a year, and the second one is more extensive than the first one for some reason. I don't know why. That's just the way it works with Mercedes Benz. And so I like that they cover the maintenance, and that if anything happened to my car, my car is getting on in age. So I figured I better do something before anything bad happens to my car, because it's my only car. So I asked them at that time, what does the dealer? Oh, and the fact that you could take it to anybody you wanted to. You could take it to your dealer, you could take it to your mechanic, or whatever. I like that they allowed me to take it to my dealer, Mercedes Benz. So I said, well, what do they have to do in order to contact you when I do these maintenances on my car? And they said, well, just call the main number. I said, the main number? The dealership has to call the main number and sit on hold for God knows how long before somebody answers. And they said, yeah. And I said, I don't know if I like that. But I started paying for this service, this warranty, that was going to be about 2 years long before I guess you didn't have to pay anymore for this warranty agreement. And about 3 weeks out, I called them back and I said, now, I'm taking my car in for service, and, I want to make sure of what the dealer is supposed to do to contact you. And what if you guys don't answer the phone? Because I had maybe a couple of calls to them, and I sat on hold for 15 minutes. Now, a business is not going to do that, sit on hold for 15 minutes. They got people coming in and out, and they don't have time to be sitting there waiting on hold. So I said, what does he do if you guys don't answer? At that time, they said, well, just send an email to the claims department of Ox Car Care. Now, up until this point, I kept trying to get a hold of the woman who sold me the policy. Her email was invalid. Her phone extension was invalid. I never got to speak with the woman that sold me this warranty policy, which I thought was a little unprofessional. I ended up having to keep calling the call center, and they couldn't get a hold of her, and it was just really weird. So 3 weeks out, I asked them what I was supposed to do. So on February 20th, I took my car in for service B, which was going to be about $450. And I told Ox Car Care that 3 week call out. I told them it would be around $450, and they said okay. So I took the car in and immediately started having problems. The guy could not get a hold of anybody at Ox Car Care, my service advisor for Mercedes in Alpharetta, and he could not get a hold of anybody. And he kept trying to call. He called several times that same day. Then the following Tuesday, I took it in on a Monday, and I got a owner cars at Mercedes while you're getting your services done. So I was driving around in their loaner, and the next day they called them and could never get a hold of anybody. And I started emailing. So he called me and told me he couldn't get a hold of anybody. This very unprofessional. And, he had never heard of Ox Car Care. I saw them on an advertisement on TV. And I should know better by now, because all of those places, they say one thing, but when you go to dealing with them, it's quite another. Um, and so he couldn't get a hold of them. I was having trouble getting a hold of them. I was spending like at least an hour every day sitting on hold, trying to get a hold of somebody in claims. I would have to call a customer service number, and they would have to forward me to claims. Claims did not have seemingly a direct phone number. And so every time I called there, they said, somebody will call you back. Every single time. They never called me back. They never called the advisor back. And this was going on day after day after day. The services only take a day to be completed. And so, mind you, I dropped the car off on Monday, and we could not get a hold of anybody in the claims department. And they finally said, listen, we need to get our loaner car back, and we need to settle this bill, which they had one other thing extra they needed to do, and then a bunch of things that the car needed. Okay, other things that the car needed in order to maintain that it didn't break down. And I've got a list of all this stuff. I don't want to read it all off because it's pages. But so I never could get a hold of anybody at Ox Car Care, not the right department. They had claims as hiding, and nobody would call me back after call after call after call after call after call of me trying to get a hold of somebody in claims. They said there was only one guy doing all of the calls all week. They were short-staffed. And I thought, this company must do a lot of business. How can they only have one employee in the claims department? That somehow that didn't seem right to me. So finally, I kept calling and blowing up their phone. I was very upset. I was probably cussing. By now, I had to settle the bill. I had to settle the entire bill, which was over $500. And Ox Car Care never did pay. And then they said they found something in the contract that said they didn't have to pay. Now, I'm sitting here reading this contract, and in the contract, it says that the maintenances are paid for by Ox Car Care, and that if anything else is wrong with the car that could break down in the near future, or in the future, that they would cover that too. And they never covered a thing. They sent me, never called me. I never spoke to anybody in claims, and they said they didn't have to pay the maintenance for the car. And that's when I started. I said, this is just totally unacceptable. What kind of, I'm reading the contract, and the contract says those things are covered, yet they find something that says it isn't covered, or claims just said that they wouldn't cover anything. And they just left me with the bill, and then turned around, and I told them, well, I don't want this service then. I'm not going to pay for this service, and anything that I paid into the service, I want back, because I'm not going to be able to use this service at all. They said, okay, we'll send your money back for the monthly charges that you have incurred as a result of this contract. They never did that. They never closed the account. I'm still having trouble getting a hold of them, getting anybody to address this corporate-wide. Oh, that was another thing. I talked to a woman that said she was in corporate, but she said she couldn't force claims, call me back, or even to deal with this. And they left me with having to drive their loaner for a whole week, when this whole thing should have been over and done in a day. So they were very unprofessional. Mercedes said they never want to deal with them again. And how they can stay in business when they treat customers like this, and they treat other businesses that are doing the repairs on the car, how they stay in business when they are so unprofessional. and I'm real pissed. And so I'm real pissed. So I've used you guys before, and one other time, I don't remember what it was for, but it was a few years ago, and I had actually forgot you do these interviews. So I just was entering in complaints on various consumer websites because our consumer protections have been taken away from Americans. Uh, President Trump made sure of that we have no protections whatsoever to get back what we're owed in this country without taking people to court, which is costly. And you can't necessarily take them to court if they don't have offices in your state or in the city you live in. So I got stuck with the bill. I'm looking for them to pay the bill. And then they can close my account. And then they can give me my money back for what I have paid into Ox Car Care since January of this year. I think I've only made a couple of payments, to be honest. A couple of payments that were over $100 a month. So a couple $100 plus the $500 plus they never, there was a whole bunch of other things that Mercedes wanted to do to my car, but I told them don't do anything because I don't know if Ox Car Care is going to pay. So I didn't let them do any of the other things that they wanted to do for my car. And really, if best case scenario, I would like them to commit to paying this, paying for the service B, paying for the other things that Mercedes wanted to do in my car, then give me my money back and close my account because I don't want to deal with such unprofessional businesses. I don't have time for this. They act like we have all the time in the world to be dealing with them every day.